I was 15 when my father died. It was sudden, cardiac arrest on a snowy morning in Boise, Idaho. I still remember the snowflakes falling like time had stopped, a perfect, frozen moment before everything moved too fast. A year later, my mom, my quiet, grieving, barely holding it together mom, married my dad's younger brother, Matt. And I thought that was the worst part. But it wasn't. My name's Ava, 24 now. But back then, I was a teenager trying to make sense of grief. And now a new man living in my house. Matt moved in 3 weeks after the wedding, right into our house in the Bench neighborhood of Boise. He said he'd help with the bills, support mom emotionally, be a stable male presence. But to me, he was just Uncle Matt, the guy who made fart jokes at Thanksgiving and drank too much at barbecues. And now he was my stepdad. At Capitol High, I lied. Yeah, we're good. Mom's doing better. But inside, I was livid. Every time I saw them sit too close on the couch, or when he answered her phone like he owned the place, I wanted to scream, but I didn't, because I thought maybe this was just part of healing. Maybe love was supposed to be messy. Maybe I was the problem. Then came the boxes. Dad's stuff, his records, tools, Navy medals from his service at Naval Station San Diego, started disappearing from the garage. Mom said we needed space, but it felt like she was erasing him. One night, I caught Matt using Dad's old flannel shirt as a rag. I lost it, screamed, threw it back at him. He said, "It's just a shirt." No, it wasn't. It was everything. I started keeping a journal, writing everything, every shift, every moment where things didn't feel right. Not to accuse, just to remember. Like how Mom laughed differently now, softer, controlled, or how Matt started calling me kiddo like he had any right. Then one day, I found a letter, stuffed between old tax documents in a dusty box in our basement. It was from my dad, to my mom, dated 3 months before he died. The letter wasn't romantic. It was angry. He talked about betrayal, about not being able to trust her anymore. He said, "You think I don't know what's going on?" I read it 3 times. Was he talking about Matt? Had it started before Dad died? My hands were shaking. I didn't know who to be mad at. Mom, Matt, myself, for not seeing it? That night, I asked her. We were in the kitchen, the fluorescent light from the ceiling harsh and unforgiving. "Did you love Uncle Matt when Dad was still alive?" She froze, didn't deny it, didn't admit it either, just said, her voice barely a whisper, "Some things are more complicated than you think." That's when I stopped calling him Uncle Matt and started calling him Matt. Over the next year, our house became quiet. No fights, no laughter, just polite nods and closed doors. I stopped eating dinner with them, opting for late-night takeout in my room, writing furiously in my journal. Mom stopped asking me how school was. And Matt, he just existed, a silent fixture. I thought I'd move out after graduation and forget all of it, but I couldn't. College came and went. I moved across state lines to Portland, Oregon, got a job in a small, independent bookstore on Hawthorne Boulevard, started therapy, and for a while, I stopped thinking about them, until my cousin, who still lived near Boise, called. "Did you hear what happened with Matt?" I hadn't. Turns out, Matt had a daughter. Not with Mom, but with a woman he'd been seeing while married to her. And now it was all unraveling. Mom had filed for divorce, said she'd been blindsided, just like she was when Dad died. But I wasn't shocked. I was just numb. I went back to Boise, walked into the same house, past the same porch swing on the front porch, same damn silence. Mom looked tired, older. She looked at me, her eyes heavy, and finally said, "You were right." And I didn't feel like saying, "I told you so." I just said, "Do you want tea?" Because sometimes healing starts with tea, not a speech. We didn't talk about Matt that night. We talked about Dad, his dry jokes, his weird obsession with fixing lawnmowers, the way he used to hum Bruce Springsteen while folding laundry. We both cried. Then Mom said something that changed everything. I was lonely, and I made a stupid choice. "I'm sorry I let it hurt you." That was the first time she said sorry, and it meant more than I expected, because the pain wasn't just about Matt. It was about losing Dad, then losing the version of Mom I used to know, the one who was my protector. But for the first time, I saw the woman behind the choices. A woman who was broken, not cruel. We started rebuilding. Phone calls turned into visits. Visits turned into weekend trips. No fake smiles, no pretending, just raw honesty. I didn't forgive her overnight, but I forgave the silence. Sometimes, family doesn't break in a single, dramatic moment. It cracks over years, one conversation at a time, but it can be rebuilt the same way. With truth, with boundaries, with patience. Years later, I found that old letter again. Dad's words still stung, but now I understood. He wasn't just mad. He was scared. Scared of losing his family, his daughter. And I made him a promise in that moment, to never lose myself for the sake of silence. Now, I help others tell their stories. I run a small writing group in Seattle, Washington, for young adults processing grief and trauma. We write letters we never send, stories we're scared to say out loud. And I tell them, you don't have to be okay to begin healing. Because I wasn't okay. But I started anyway. Matt tried to reach out once, sent me a message on Facebook, said he missed the family we had. I didn't reply, because we never had a family. Not really, just a house with 3 broken people trying to survive. I kept the journal, still add to it sometimes. Not to document pain anymore, but progress. Because healing isn't about forgetting, it's about remembering without breaking. Every year, on my dad's death anniversary, I visit the Boise River near the Greenbelt, leave a letter in a sealed jar. It's silly, maybe, but it feels right. Last year, I wrote, "I'm okay. And I made it out with your stories, your strength, your humor, and I believe it." If you're someone who's watching this, wondering if your pain is valid, it is. If you feel like your family fell apart in a way no one else would understand, you're not alone. Because family drama doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes, it's just silence. The kind that fills a room until you can't breathe. And breaking that silence is terrifying, but necessary. Mom and I aren't perfect now. We still have awkward moments. Things we don't say. But we've earned our peace. And that's more than I ever thought we'd get. So to anyone stuck in a story that hurts, write a new one. Speak up. Cry if you need to. But don't stay silent just to keep the peace. Your voice matters. This isn't just my story. It's one version of 1,000 silent truths living in American homes, shared to me by a personal experience in my DMs, not a Reddit post. And if telling it helps even one person feel seen, then all the pain, the journals, the letters, it's worth it. Because truth doesn't destroy families. Silence does.